Oh, is it working?
Do we have sound yet?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have sound yet? It sounds like...
It's pumping.
There we go. Well, let's do the intro again. Good morning. Welcome to the wonderful world of women's basketball. Clearly, it is Monday because we are so struggling to even get this new system monitor working. We are back, baby. We are back in the Bill Austin. This is the wonderful world of women's basketball. I'm Zach Bradshaw.
I'm Aya Abdeen.
It is so nice to have you here this morning. Sorry about those technical difficulties at the beginning a little bit. We had a whole intro and then we just couldn't even get it figured out. So it's a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
That said, I got bad news, Aya.
Yeah.
We missed the entire regular season.
I know.
We were out all summer.
It's a long summer, especially with the first regular season to have 40 games.
And we missed the entire regular season. It's okay, though, because
we get to do a quick recap.
We have so much news to get to. This season for WNBA action was just absolutely phenomenal. At least when I was watching this summer and kind of paying attention, it felt like just one of the best summers that I think we've had of basketball in a long time.
Yes.
This was close to last summer. I loved last summer's, but I also loved that 2021 season. Back when... That was the season that it was the Mercury in the Sky in the finals. I think that season was also phenomenal. These past
anything is possible in the playoffs.
And that was the fun part about it. And I think there have just been so many good parts about the WNBA recently. The league is just getting bigger, first of all. Let's put it that way. The league is getting a lot bigger. A lot of talk of expansion this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of Kathy Engelbert saying, well, we're going to expand. We just don't know when. Make up your mind, Kathy. Come on, let's expand. But I'm very proud of this league and where it has gone. So we have a whole regular season of stories to recap. Plus, the regular season literally just ended like 12 hours ago.
Yesterday.
So yeah, we have a lot to get to. Would you like to cue us in?
So, starting with the final standings and how the playoff is going to turn out. So top 8 teams have qualified for the playoffs, which is the Las Vegas Aces. They had the best record in the WNBA with 34-6 and broke the 2014 Phoenix Mercury's regular season record in 34 games with 30-4 when they won over Chicago last month. And then followed by the New York Liberty, who clinched the number 2 seed in the WNBA playoffs following a loss to the Washington Mystics, who are the number 7 seed, and they will face each other in the first round matchup this Friday. Number 3 is the Connecticut Sun. They had a phenomenal start, but led by Alyssa Thomas, but they dealt with a big hit as Brianna Jones was out with a torn Achilles. Number 4 seed is the Dallas Wings. They are also having the best season for the first time since 2008 when they were the Detroit Shock, led by Enrique Iguodala and Satu Sabali, and first-year head coach Latricia Chamberlain, who is defensive-minded from the Los Angeles Sparks.
How about that duo on the wings? I'm sorry, I just had to interject there. How about that duo of Satu Sabali plus Ogumbo? I never say your name right. You always have to correct me. Ogunbowale. Their dynamic on not only offense but defense is so impressive to me because as an offense, they're obviously both they're good shooters. They kind of are offensive minded. They know where each other's going to be on the floor, but it's the defense that gets me. Because you're right though, that coaching staff is definitely been pushing the Wings for defense, especially with last season. They were one of the lowest in that category, and this season they were really able to pick it up. But Sabali plus Ogunbowale, they're not easily tricked on defense now. They used to be I've seen tapes of Ogunbowale getting lost on screens, getting lost on the faders. She doesn't do that now, and she's really matured as a player. And I think that duo is something that's going to be something to watch for in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be really special for the Dallas Wings and the fans, especially how they went through a lot of change and rebuild. So credit to Latricia Tremo for helping turn around the culture for the Wings. Coming at number 5 and 6 is the Atlanta Dream, who won the tiebreaker over the Minnesota Lynx based on regular season results. Number 7 is the Washington Mystics, as we talked about. They are getting fully healthy with Elena Delle Donne back in the mix, Brittany Sykes and Natasha Cloud as a backcourt duo, but something to keep an eye on for the Liberty fans. And coming at number 8 is a Chicago Sky. Even though they dealt with so much adversity with coaching changing mid-season, James Wade departing for the NBA, credit Marie Vatanzavia, who is the interim general manager and head coach for the Sky, for helping the Sky clinch the final playoff berth based on clinching a tiebreaker over the Los Angeles Sparks.
I'm proud of the Sky. They have a Goliath task in front of them going against the Aces. I do want to go back to these Liberty because we had talked about them. I guess that would have been in April before kind of our last show before the summer, and we had both predicted they'd be one of the top 3 seeds. That has remained unchanged. I think the Liberty, they have not only obliterated their expectations this year, but they've gone well above and beyond by proving that they can easily be one of the best teams in the league. They beat Las Vegas twice this season, this regular season, in games where the Aces were favored going in, and now the Liberty are going to the playoffs, and they're the number 2 seed. They have the best chance of the entire league to upset the Aces. The Aces obviously are a super team, but these Liberty that shoot well, they're coached very well, they also have fun out there. They remind me a lot of, and let me know if you will agree with this, but they remind me a lot of Iowa State when they made the Final Four with Caitlin Clark last season.
Ooh,
Iowa, not Iowa State.
It was University of Iowa, led by Caitlin Clark.
It's Monday morning, as you can tell, but they remind me a lot of Iowa and that team because they just have fun. They're sparky on offense. They really push the ball. I think these teams have a lot of similarities, and
personalities too.
I think the Liberty could go into the season or this postseason and do a lot of damage.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, those are standings. We're going to get into the Sparks, Fever, Storm, Mercury a little bit later on in the season, kind of what went wrong with their seasons, obviously. Let's move to I would say this is our biggest news storyline of the entire summer, and that is the fact that the GOAT, the greatest to ever do it, the Bear, Diana Taurasi, she reached 10,000 points.
This is a big deal in the women's basketball accomplishment. I was there as a media member. It was my first WNBA game as a media member, by the way, when I was covering for the Next, when I wrote a feature story on Megan Gustafson. It was such a surreal moment to witness, and especially the fans were holding up 10,000 cards, which I have one somewhere in my bedroom. It's just such an amazing moment for the fans to see. And not only it is a big deal for women's basketball, but it is a huge step of promoting fans to watch women's basketball, because there has been a lot of records that are broken this season and set by Diana Taurasi throughout her career.
She had started this season with 9,693 points. So she only needed about 300 to get there, and she made it easily. And it was actually, get this, a 42-point game against the Atlanta Dream that made it happen. And of course, she made history on a 3-point shot, because that is Diana Taurasi's absolute specialty.
Yep.
It was such an iconic moment. She's been the greatest for a while. There has been little debate about it, as you know. Yeah. And Diana Taurasi, I'm just so incredibly proud of her. We will get into her retirement and all that if there's rumors spilling there. But the bottom line is, she is her. She is her.
Yes, period.
Diana Taurasi, 10,000 points, first player ever to do that. And I am absolutely so proud of her. I just cannot believe what she's done with this league and what she's been able to do. She is the LeBron. She is the Serena Williams. She is the GOAT of this sport, and I am just absolutely so proud of her. And go DT, stay in. She looked so good this season, and I
agree. Even though she missed the last few games due to a left toe injury.
But that doesn't matter, because she already got to 10,000 points before that. And that's all that mattered.
And something that I would like to bring up is that she had her first 40-point game since 2010, when she scored 40 points over the Seattle Storm in a July 2010 season. And something to bring up for the Phoenix Mercury, they are also hosting the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game right here in Footprint Center. Credit to Matt Ishbia, another Matt Ishbia dub right here.
Yes,
Taurasi pointed out that I have that she told the media, "I have one more year on my contract, and I hope to honor that. It's a big year, an Olympic year. I obviously would like to be wearing a jersey at 2024 WNBA All-Star Game. We'll see what happens. BG was telling me about the 4-point shot. If I'm here, I'll do the skills, 3-point contest, beer pong, whatever they want me to do."
I can just imagine Diana Taurasi here in Footprint, just like playing beer pong with her like 10,000 point shirt, just like chilling in retirement. Diana Taurasi would so do that. She's so funny. Hopefully there is no retirement. That's just from a personal level. But
not to mention that she is under contract for only one more season.
Mm-hmm. But get those printing presses ready. Print her that 10,000 shirt. Print the 10,000 jersey. Give it to everybody. Diana Taurasi, we are so proud of you. Congratulations to the GOAT, the Bear. Don't poke the GOAT. They told them not to do it, and they still poked the GOAT. Diana Taurasi showed them why you can't do that. Thank you, DT, for everything you do for the sport. We love you. We support you, and I cannot wait to see you more in basketball.
And in another record-breaking news, even though it's 36 points Sabrina Ionescu played in, New York Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu broke Diana Taurasi's WNBA record for most three-pointers made in a season.
So we have one side of the Taurasi coin where she's like getting 10,000 points, and the other side of it where she's losing her record. So just want to point that out. But Sabrina Ionescu, oh my God. Basically, she knocked down her 122nd three-pointer. Yes, 122nd. That's a lot of threes. I'm trying to do the math on that. I guess that's 366 points in just three-pointers.
You got it right.
Oh, my gosh. Quick math. How did I do that on Monday morning? I'm so proud of her. And, yeah, that broke the record of most three-pointers made in a regular season. Now, obviously, it was a longer regular season than than past regular seasons. But this is so impressive on so many levels. Sabrina Ionescu, she's been compared to Stephen Curry. She's been compared to Diana Taurasi. She's been compared to a lot of these all-time great three-point shooters because she is just so dead accurate from outside. And I think that moment when she had that season breaker was absolutely phenomenal. And we are so proud of Ionescu. I really am.
The future is bright in women's basketball. Let me tell you this.
Oh yeah, and she's gonna go far in these playoffs. If she can shoot like that against the Aces, yeah, it might be game time. Like
that could remind me of how Diana Taurasi responded 2 years ago in the semifinals against the Aces.
It's gonna be absolutely phenomenal. Ionescu this season has been averaging 17 points, 5.6 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and career high 0.444% shooting percentage. That's absurd. That's almost amazing. 5 of every 10 threes going in. Usually the league average is sitting about 0.3. So she's well above that. So Ionescu, I would say currently easily the best three-point shooter in the league. And absolutely just lighting it up from outside. We are absolutely so proud of her. And go Ionescu. That said, the season is over, as we mentioned. So let's break down some of these matchups that we have in the playoffs.
So the matchup that will begin on Wednesday is the Connecticut Sun taking on the number 6 seed Minnesota Lynx.
We also have the Aces, and the Sky facing off on Wednesday as well. Friday, we're going to get the Mystics versus Liberty game.
Which is the most anticipated first-round matchup.
I think so, too. I think so, too. So many reasons to watch that Mystics-Liberty game. Liberty have just entirely rebuilt their roster before this season. And the Mystics, breaking expectations at least, I don't think I personally had them in the playoffs before this season. And now the number 7 seed. So
what a big turnaround for this
big
Mystics
turnaround
team, even though they dealt with injuries.
Yeah, and Elena Del Don, she's absurd in the playoffs, so she's gonna be fun to watch. There's a lot of intrigue around this matchup. I just can't wait. I just cannot wait for Friday night to watch this one. And also we have the Wings in the Dream game on Friday night as well. That'll be a close matchup only because those two teams have the same record. So that'll be a good one. That's going to be played in Dallas. So coming up this week, all WNBA matchups. Me and Aya will obviously be tweeting, Instagramming, all of it for all these games. Shall we do just a few predictions?
Ooh.
Let's do a few predictions.
Aces over Sky in 2.
I'm going to take that one as well.
I would say the Sun over Lynx. But for the Liberty and Mystics, it's too hard to predict right now.
I'm going to say Liberty over Mystics in 3. I think the Mystics will have a surprising game 1 and be able to beat the Liberty in game 1. Liberty bounce back. They go on the road. They get the dub. I think the Liberty have so much firepower right now. It's going to be hard for the Mystics to stop them. And the Mystics also they're going to have to really stretch their wings, per se, to get the 3-point shot covered for the Liberty. I just think it's too tall of a task right now. And I think the Liberty will be able to take that series. And yeah, I'll say probably Sun over Lynx I'll take the Sun over the Lynx in 2.
I agree with you as well. But for the Wings versus Dream, I would say the Wings over Dream in 3.
In 3, yeah.
Go to 3 games.
That'll be a good series. If any of these series is going to go to 3 games, I think it'll be that Wings Dream series for sure. But make sure to tune in. You can find all these matchups online. They're going to be on ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV, a couple different networks. Tune in. Go watch women's basketball. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll be live tweeting about them, of course. But that said, let's talk about these Connecticut Sun, because at least at the beginning of this season, I'm going to be real, I did not expect much out of them. I just didn't. They had obviously had some roster changes.
With Jonquil Jones going to New York. And
then with Jonquil Jones absolutely obliterating it in New York, I thought this Connecticut Sun team would kind of be floundering in the playoffs or in the regular season. But no, they've kept their pace. Alyssa Thomas has absolutely exceeded expectations. Dewana Bonner, obviously. But Dejone Carrington with that addition at guard. And then Brianna Jones, Nelson Adodo, they're phenomenal, just additions, assets to this team. And I think everywhere, I don't think we really realized how deep this roster is until we were kind of watching them this season. Letitia Heidemann, I think they have this really good starting 5, but it's their backups. Like, a lot of teams in this league can say they have one of the best starting 5s. They can say they have the best, top 3 players in the league. But if they don't have the bench players, it's going to be really hard to carry them through the postseason, because the postseason's long, you get tired, you get fatigued. There's a lot of factors to it. The Connecticut Sun can really be a force for that reason, because they have just such a deep roster.
Yes, and credit to Stephanie White, who was the first-year head coach for the Sun. She was a head coach with the Indiana Fever back in 2015-2016 seasons. It is such a big deal for the Sun to get to the number 3 seed and have home court advantage in the first round. And not to mention that Alyssa Thomas became the first and only player in WNBA history to finish the regular season with the most total rebounds and the most total assists.
That was insane.
Yes, and she is one of the candidates for MVP award.
And that's why this Sun team is just so deep. Again, their expectations were very low going into the season. I think the Liberty and the Aces obviously had more of the hype, but these Connecticut Sun coming out strong, getting that 3 seed. Bonner's averaging 17 a game. Brianna Jones is averaging 16 a game. So is Alyssa Thomas. Tiffany Hayes is averaging 12 a game, and Natisha Heidemann with 8 a game. That's a lot of scoring right there. Not only to add to the fact that Alyssa Thomas just finds ways to get rebounds. I swear to God, her hands are like magnets sometimes. She's in there just grappling rebounds. I don't know where she even finds them, but she's getting rebounds somehow. The assist is a huge thing, because in the playoffs you have to focus on the team aspect of it and assisting your teammates. This team has really done that as well. And you're right. I think this team can really go a long way. They're averaging just over 36% on 3-point shooters, 44% on field goal percentage, and I think that that shooting combined with their defense abilities, combined with the things that they do outside of those two kind of areas, is just so impressive. And they really have a very, very, very good playoffs coming up in front of them.
Ooh, yep, that's for sure.
Let's jump into one of the other biggest, almost saddest news that was kind of this season, but Brittany Griner was back. She was back. PG was back. It was so enlightening to see her on the court once again, reunited with Taurasi, reunited with her teammates. We were reunited with the Mercury, back in a Merc jersey. I think by the time that we had gone off the air, they hadn't started the first game, if I'm remembering correctly, but
until May 19,
correct,
when the Phoenix Mercury traveled to Los Angeles to face the Sparks.
And that
Kamala Harris and other celebrities were there.
We're there to watch it, yeah. And then her home welcomers against the Chicago Sky, her home welcomer. I wasn't able to see it live, sadly, but was absolutely enlightening, heartwarming, heartbreaking in many ways. They had just really outlined who she was as a player, and I'm so impressed by her ability to come back this season after facing a year overseas in prison. That could not have been easy. That could not have been anywhere more than, just hard, challenging. And she came back and she made a difference this season. She really did. On the court, obviously, she averaged, I pulled up my laptop. She averaged around 12.5 a game. She had plenty of successes. She finally looked like herself again on the court, and that was so impressive for me to see.
Yes. Throughout the 2023 season, she averaged 17.5 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, and 2.2 assists. Not to mention that her blocks continue to be amazing for fans.
Insane. Thank you for that point.
2 seasons ago, in Game 4 of the 2021 Finals, she had 28 points and 7 rebounds. This was her last game before she went to Russia to play for UMMC Ekaterinburg in overseas, and she was wrongfully detained for nearly 10 months. So, not to mention that for the Phoenix Mercury, so much has changed since Game 4 of the 2021 WNBA Finals. They went through a lot of coaching change, player movement, injuries, and now they missed the playoffs for the first time since 2012. They had a regular season record of 9-31, and they had the most losses in franchise history. They made a coaching change in the mid-season with firing Vanessa Nygaard after starting 2-10, which is tied for the worst since the 2003 season, which they drafted Diana Taurasi with the first overall pick in the 2004 draft. They replaced Nygaard with Nikki Blue, and somebody mentioned that the Phoenix Mercury were 119 on the road, which is worse since the 2002 season with 115 record when it was 32 games.
Yeah, also only 9 wins. That's the second lowest in the whole entire Taurasi era. No, you're right, though. They had a lot going on. The Nygaard firing,
it was not a surprise.
It was not a surprise.
Which a lot of WNBA fans did not like her, which she was known for the All-Star Game comments when she said it wouldn't be an All-Star Game because Diana Taurasi is not playing, and Skylar Diggins-Smith, who is now on maternity leave, called her out with a clown emoji with a quote tweet, which is now deleted, by the way, which there are still receipts on Google.
Still the receipts.
And something to mention for the Phoenix Mercury that next year, they would need to be aggressive in free agency market and especially in the draft, especially with Nick Uren taking over as general manager, and he's replacing Jim Pittman, who retired from the 2020 after the 2023 season as general manager role for 10 seasons. And add in Moriah Jefferson's quote after the Phoenix Mercury were eliminated from playoff contention. "We've been through a lot this season with injuries and people going in and out and a new coaching staff. For us, we do not like to make any excuses, especially in games like tonight. I think we should have won that, but for us, it's just about trying to get better every single game. No matter what's thrown at us, we just have to keep pushing for it. This year, we got a lot closer, and hopefully we can keep continuing to do that. Something to mention that the Phoenix Mercury went on a franchise record 11-game losing streak at the end of the season. They dealt with injuries to Griner and Gustafson, who were on health and safety protocols, and then they missed Diana Taurasi due to the left toe injury, and Sophie Cunningham due to a jaw injury, and Shea Petty, who spent the rest of the season on concussion protocol after a scary fall on August 5th.
And Diggin Smith out with maternity leave. There were like a lot of moving parts with this Mercury team. I just remember this summer kept seeing like the injury list, and I was like, oh, another player on the injury list. It was really unfortunate what happened to them, but at the same time, like, there was a lot of hype when Nygaard came in. They really thought that they could be a force, at least going into the playoffs. When Nygaard came in, they had just had a pretty good season. It was like 2 years removed from the finals appearance. They really thought Nygaard could be that one to get them there, and Nygaard ended up only having 9 wins, and that is something that is not taken lightly.
It was 15. It was 17 wins.
Across the 2 seasons, you're right. But this season, yes. Just 9 wins. And I think that's something that, the league doesn't take lightly. You can't just come to an organization like Phoenix that has talented players and, say comments about the All-Star game, things like that, make a lot of noise but not have a lot of results. That's something you cannot absolutely do as a coach. And they had to look over in the end. And it was, again, not a surprise. Definitely well-deserved, though, and I hate to say it. I mean, I love Nygaard as a person. I think she was very sweet, but there was a lot that was going on with this organization, and she just felt like she didn't have a very good grasp of what was going on in the locker room. She felt very distant from what was going on the court and what was going on in her life. And favoritism as well. You're right. I think she just didn't do this, and she hyped up players a lot. She had really promised a lot for this team, and so for that not to happen was a big disappointment.
We'll be back next week to talk more about the playoffs and what's going on, and especially the 2024 WNBA Draft Lottery. Logging off from the wonderful world of women's basketball, follow us at W World of Women's B-Ball on Twitter. I'm Aya Abdeen, and this is Zach Bradshaw. We out of here. See you next Monday morning.
See you next Monday.
2 choices on my mind. 4 hours on the road.